This is the third shooting in Texas directed at ICE or CBP.
The FBI is on scene.
Rounds that were found near the suspected shooter contain messages that are anti-ICE in nature.
We'll continue to follow breaking news out of Dallas this afternoon. Early this morning, someone shot at an ICE facility near downtown from a nearby building, killing 2 people. The shooter found dead on the top of a building. The other big story here at home, heavy rain moving through parts of East Texas, making it a wet and messy lunch commute. The noon show starts with meteorologist Joel Robinson. All right, thank you, Joel. Let's get back to that breaking news we've been following all morning long out of Dallas. 2 people are dead, including the suspect. 2 others injured in an early morning shooting at an ICE facility. Now, for those familiar with the area, this is on I-35E, also known as North Stemmons Freeway, which is very, very close to Dallas Love Field Airport. The interstate is back open now if you have friends or family out there, but early this morning, it was a gridlock with swarms of police out there. Dallas police and the FBI held a press conference not too long ago, and right now we're still trying to figure out if the one person killed and 2 others injured were detainees. FBI officials couldn't confirm that, though, just saying no law enforcement was hurt. The other thing we learned is that the rounds the suspect used had anti-ICE messages. This is a photo of one of them shared by FBI Director Kash Patel. We also know the suspect shot from atop of a nearby building, which is also an immigration attorney's office. Sources told our sister station in Dallas that the shooting happened during the loading or unloading of bus of detainees. Senator Ted Cruz was also at that press conference, and he talked about the growing political violence in this country.
This is the third shooting in Texas directed at ICE or CBP. This must stop. To every politician who is using rhetoric demonizing ICE and demonizing CBP, stop.
We also heard from the acting director of ICE, Todd Lyons. He talked a bit this morning on CNN about the increased violence on ICE agents over the last few years.
This just shows the violence that's being increased against ICE officers and agents. This is the second time now we've had a shooting at one of our facilities in the Dallas area, and really it's just a sad time that we have to worry about violence against law enforcement.
We're also hearing from Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem. She mentioned the shooter died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound, and she also said, while we don't know the motive yet, we know that our law enforcement is facing unprecedented violence against them. It must stop. Please pray for the victims and their families. And Governor Greg Abbott also saying this assassination will not slow our arrest, detention, and deportation of illegal immigrants, adding that he will work with ICE and the Dallas Police Department to get to the bottom of the assassin's motive. I'm outside the Huntsville unit here in Huntsville, Texas, outside the execution chamber. In a matter of an hour now, Blaine Milam from Rusk County is said to be executed, and that reality becoming just a little too close now. Just today, the U.S. Supreme Court denied a stay of execution by his attorneys that was filed yesterday, and on Tuesday, the Texas Board of Pardons and Parole also denied clemency, which would have potentially given him life in prison without parole instead of execution, which brings us to today. Just a quick background on this. Blaine Milam was just 18 years old back in 2008 when investigators say he and his girlfriend Jessica Carson killed her 13-month-old daughter Amora Carson. Prosecutors said the pair beat and tortured the toddler during what they called an exorcism. And autopsy reports showed 24 human bite marks, broken bones, and other severe injuries, some that are too graphic to share on TV. Now, Carson received life without parole. She's in there right now. And Milam was convicted to capital murder back in 2010 by a Montgomery County jury, sentenced to death, which brings us to today. And for more than a decade, Milam and his attorneys have fought that sentence, challenging the bite marks evidence as junk science. They've also, the main point now is intellectual disability. Under the U.S. Supreme Constitution, or Supreme Court ruling that is, someone who is intellectually disabled cannot be executed. And the criminal appeals actually put his execution on hold twice, first in 2019 and then in 2021. Now, earlier this week, I was able to speak to his attorney, his defense attorney, back from that case in 2010, and he actually told me that he sees Blaine as a child, not as an adult, saying he should not be executed today.
Blaine basically had not grown up. Blaine had been pulled out of school prior to 4th grade. He was taking care of an invalid, very sick father, and that was his life. Blaine had very little to no formal education, and his life revolved around cartoons.
He mentioned cartoons there. He actually told me a moment during while the jury was deliberating his sentence, which actually lasted about 10 hours in Montgomery County, that while they were waiting for that sentence, Blaine Milam asked him, "Why do these people want to kill me?" Obviously, the attorney there, Mr. Stevens, heartbroken by that comment as well. We'll have that full interview on our website, cbs19.tv. In the meantime, we're outside the Huntsville unit. No protesters so far this hour. If that changes, we'll let you know, and we'll have more updates after 6 o'clock. Brennan. After years of legal challenges, Blaine Milam became the 5th person in Texas to die of execution this year and the 1st from Rusk County.
In Huntsville, Texas,
As protesters stood outside the Huntsville unit,
Blaine did nothing to that child.
the clock ran out for Blaine Milam.
He was convicted of the capital murder and sentenced to death for the December 2008 murder of his girlfriend's 13-month-old daughter.
Last-minute appeals to the Texas Board of Pardons and Paroles and the U.S. Supreme Court failed this week.
The appeals that were filed clearly explain that the mother of the little girl that was horribly murdered was the one responsible.
But the courts did not see it that way. Rusk County District Attorney Michael Jimerson witnessed the execution.
Meanwhile, Amora's unspoken plea for justice has reached a crescendo that endless appeals no longer silence.
The lethal injection began at 6:19 p.m. In his final statement, Blaine Milam thanked his supporters and the Texas Department of Criminal Justice for helping him find his faith. His last words, "I love you all. Bring me home, Jesus." Inside the viewing chamber, Amora Carson's family stood solemnly.
We will never know what Amora would have contributed to our world.
The next scheduled execution here in Huntsville is for Robert Robertson. He's also from East Texas, and both of these cases with Blaine and Robert Robertson have very similar overlaps. Both defenders saying that both are intellectually disabled and constitutionally cannot be executed, and both defense lawyers also saying that their cases are built on junk science. In Huntsville, I'm Jesus Martinez. Back to you.